What is Adobe Launch? Adobe Launch is a next-generation tag management system, TMS, offered as part of Adobe Experience Cloud. It allows marketers and developers to manage and deploy analytics, marketing, and advertising tags across websites. Unlike traditional TMS tools, Adobe Launch is highly extensible, modular, and API-first, enabling faster deployment and integration with other Adobe and third-party tools. How does Adobe Launch differ from Dynamic Tag Manager, DTM? Architecture. Launch is built on a modern, extensible architecture. DTM is not. Extensions. Launch uses a modular system of extensions, while DTM uses a built-in interface. APIs. Launch provides REST APIs for automation. DTM does not. Publishing workflow. Launch supports multiple environments and libraries for granular control. DTM has a limited two-step process. Integration. Launch is designed to work seamlessly with Adobe Experience Platform. What are extensions in Adobe Launch? Extensions are modular containers that package rules, data elements, and scripts. They enable third-party vendors or internal developers to add functionality to Adobe Launch, such as integrating tools like Adobe Analytics, Target, Facebook Pixel, or Google Analytics. What are data elements in Adobe Launch? Data elements are variables that capture values from the website, example URL parameters, cookies, DOM elements. These act as placeholders and feed dynamic values into rules. They're reusable and can be used across multiple tags and rules. What are rules in Adobe Launch? Rules define the logic for when and how tag scripts should be fired. Each rule has events. What should trigger the rule? Example page load, click. Conditions. Logical checks to determine if the rule should fire. Actions. What the rule should do. Example, fire a pixel, send analytics data. What types of events can trigger rules? Events include page load, DOM ready, window loaded, custom events, JavaScript-based click, or form submission events, timer-based triggers. Explain the role of environments in Adobe Launch. Environments allow you to test and deploy launch libraries in stages. Development, for testing changes locally. Staging, for QA/UAT testing. Production, for live deployment. You can create multiple environments for each stage, enabling parallel testing across different dev teams or regions. What is a library in Adobe Launch? A library is a bundle of rules, data elements, and extensions packaged together for deployment. Each library can be assigned to a specific environment and submitted for publishing. How is Adobe Launch integrated with Adobe Experience Cloud? Adobe Launch integrates with the Experience Cloud using Experience Cloud ID ECID for visitor identification, direct publishing of tags related to Adobe Analytics, Target, Audience Manager, etc. Authentication and access control via Admin Console and IMS, Identity Management System. What are the steps to publish a tag in Adobe Launch? Create, modify rules, data elements, or extensions. Add changes to a library. Build the library in a development environment. Test, thoroughly, promote to staging. Submit for approval, approve, and publish to production. Can we use Adobe Launch with non-Adobe tools? Yes, Adobe Launch supports third-party tools through extensions and custom code. For example, Google Analytics, Facebook Pixel, Hotjar, and more can be integrated. What are conditions in Adobe Launch rules? Conditions are logical expressions that determine whether the associated action should be executed when an event fires. Examples include checking for URL matches, visitor type, device type, page type. Time of day. What are the types of actions you can define in a rule? Set variables, example for Adobe Analytics, fire beacons or marketing pixels. Execute JavaScript, trigger other events or rules. Send data to third-party services. How do you debug Adobe Launch implementations? Use Adobe Experience Platform Debugger Chrome extension. Enable console logging in Launch. Check the Browser Developer Tools Greater Than Network tab. Use _satellite object in the console to track rule activity. What are common performance optimization practices in Adobe Launch? To keep Adobe Launch tags fast and efficient, use asynchronous loading, default behavior, minimize rule overlap to prevent unnecessary executions, avoid duplicate tracking or pixel fires, scope data elements smartly, use page top or DOM ready only when needed, consolidate libraries to avoid bloated builds. Efficient tag deployment reduces page load times, improves SEO, and enhances user experience. How is asynchronous tag loading handled in Adobe Launch? Adobe Launch loads scripts asynchronously to avoid blocking page rendering. It also supports asynchronous calls to fire specific rules or load additional libraries post-page load using dynamic conditions or custom events. What are custom code actions in Adobe Launch? Custom code actions allow you to write JavaScript to execute custom logic that cannot be accomplished with the built-in UI or extensions. It's useful for unique business requirements, API calls, or data formatting. How do you implement Adobe Analytics using Adobe Launch? Install the Adobe Analytics extension Configure Report Suites and Tracking Server. Create data elements to capture variables, example page name, props, evars. Create rules to set variables and send the beacon build and publish the library. What is the purpose of build and publish status in Launch? Built, library has been compiled for an environment and is ready to test. Submitted, library is waiting for approval. Approved, library has been approved for production. Published, changes are live in production. What is the difference between synchronous and asynchronous deployment in Launch? Synchronous, blocking, loads tags before the page continues loading, not preferred. Asynchronous, non-blocking, tags load in parallel with the page content, improving performance and user experience. Launch is designed for asynchronous, non-blocking tag execution. What is the purpose of the Adobe Experience Platform Debugger? It is a Chrome browser extension that helps developers and analysts troubleshoot rule execution, data element values, extension versions, analytics beacon, payloads, environment-specific libraries. How can permissions be managed in Adobe Launch? Through Adobe Admin Console, assign users to product profiles. Define permissions like view, edit, publish, control access per property or environment. Can Adobe Launch be used in mobile apps? Yes. Adobe offers a mobile SDK integrated with Adobe Experience Platform. Launch rules can be configured to send mobile data to Adobe Analytics or other services using the same tag management logic. What is the role of hosting in Adobe Launch? Adobe provides hosting for Launch libraries through Akamai default, with options to host via Adobe Managed CDN, recommended, host on your own servers, self-hosted via FTP. How do you migrate from DTM to Adobe Launch? Use the migration tool provided by Adobe Rebuild. Any unsupported customizations manually. Test thoroughly in development staging environments. Replace the DTM embed code with the Launch embed code on your site. Publish the Launch library to production.